Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. I'm just grumping around.
What fresh hell?
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
We can feel all the feels.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
Going to lunch in the city is a ridiculous prospect.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to.
I know I'll feel great when I'm done.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy, and today we're talking about rebuilding our friendships after this super, super weird time.
It's a lot. It's weird for it to have happened, and I'm finding it extremely weird for it to be ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I tell you what my number one symptom is this week?
Symptom of the moment? Okay, yes.
Yeah, my current life symptom is like... My nephew used to have an expression when he was in a bad mood. You'd say, Greg, how you doing? And he'd say, I'm fine. I'm just grumping around. And I'm just grumping around. I don't know. We had a family wedding. It was really fun. It was super social. I was so excited to be seeing people, like drinking a cocktail, beautiful outdoor location. It was great. And now I'm back and I'm like a troll under a bridge. I'm very agitated.
And you loved it. I mean, you had an incredible experience. You were talking to people. We talked about it last week. But now you're sort of like, leave me alone, everybody.
I think it's like, I don't know if it was a glimpse of heaven and now I feel like I'm back to Shawshank. Like, I think it was. And also, I don't really have any more plans. Like, a wedding was like, they set the date. They were like, we're going to try and see if we can do it. And I don't know what is with me, but I am grumping around.
I have some thoughts for you. I have some expert advice.
Oh, I need some stuff. And I'm like, I miss people. I hate people. I don't want to do anything. I want to do all the things. It's like looking at the Cheesecake Factory menu. It's like, I'm hungry, but none of these 800 meals sound good to me.
I actually want nothing, right? I can't. I'm overwhelmed by the bounty.
And yet I'm hungry and
Yes.
annoyed to be hungry. But like, if I have to choose between pancakes and like fettuccine Alfredo, I'm going to have to leave. I can't. Nothing sounds right to me.
You sound like my son who like, can we have something I like for dinner? And it's like, well, what would you like?
Yes.
Not this stuff. Like, not stuff that sucks.
Oh.
Not chicken.
Your son and I are totally simpatico. I'm like, can I have something I like to live? And then you're like, how about putting on a bra and going out for cocktails? And I'm like, no, that sounds horrible.
Sounds weird. Well, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for a reset, and a reset is exhausting. But Arthur Brooks, he wrote this article for The Atlantic called A Once in a Lifetime Chance to Start Over. And I think that's why this is overwhelming, because it's huge. We can't just be like, okay, go back to the way things were. Like, there are people who I saw every day, and 16 months later, I literally haven't spoken to them. So I guess we're not friends anymore. Not in a bad way, just like, okay, I guess I'm not picking that relationship back up because it just sort of floated away, and that's okay, but it's weird.
And can I just take a moment and say to Arthur, slow your roll, Arthur. Like, I don't need on top of it to know that this is my once in a lifetime opportunity.
Well, he writes for The Atlantic about pointing yourself towards happiness. So it's a sort of like, you can look at it this way or you can look at it that way. He's just saying, I think, that this is as big a deal as you think it is. You're hiding under there from the Cheesecake Factory overwhelmingness of the world. Like, yeah, it is overwhelming, but you can also look at it as a reset, even though it's overwhelming.
Okay, I'm going to try to be positive. I'm a little bit like Arthur, go take a long walk off a short pier, but I'm trying to keep my mind and heart open, but I'm not in a good place, and I'm just going to say that right now.
All right, here's why it's hard, right? So the pandemic and the sort of quasi-ending pandemic now, like it shrank our social circles.
Correct.
First for real reasons, right? Like we were literally stuck inside. And for reasons that have become more metaphorical, like I was saying before, like it's weird now, like should I make plans with the people down the street that I actually haven't really bothered to check in with? So I guess we're not friends. And do you like, is that weird? Like, sorry, I haven't reached out to you. I was overwhelmed. That's weird, right?
I really like the expression, I guess we're not friends. It's like, oh, I guess we're not friends.
But we were drained, that we didn't have the bandwidth. I'll give you another article. Anna Goldfarb. She wrote an article for the New York Times.
All right, Anna, you better do better by me than Arthur. Come on.
All right. She wrote an article for the New York Times called How to Deal with a Friendship Quiet Season. She wrote this last fall, like when we were just in it. We were heading into the like, looks like nobody's going anywhere for the holidays. It's going to get worse before it gets better time. Do you remember that? I mean, we were all in it.
I definitely remember it. I just was thinking, someone posted something there like a year ago today, and it was something from May, and I kept thinking, what was a year ago? Like it was that whole dead year was just so surreal. You know what my son said last night? He's like, it's like, you have to be an Avengers fan to get this reference, but he's like, it's after the snap.
I'm not an Avengers fan.
In one of the movies, I believe the character of Thanos, I'm not as dialed in. My son, his head would explode if he heard me trying to describe this. He snaps his fingers and like half of the world disappears. And then in some other movie, that part of the world comes back. And he's like, I feel like we're back after the Thanos snap. And I said, that's about as good a metaphor as we get for this.
Right. I guess that's it.
Like the world went into a frozen time and now we're back.
But a year, exactly. Like I was dealing with serious stuff at my house. My close friends were dealing with serious stuff at their house. And you had enough bandwidth for like a text, like, how are you guys hanging in there? How are you? But there was no, at least in my life, there wasn't a lot of bandwidth for small talk because there was serious stuff happening. And I don't want to get on and talk about Real Housewives. I didn't have time for it, but I definitely also didn't have the energy for it. And I felt bad about that sometimes, but I was hiding. I wasn't in the mood for investing in my friendships, even though they would have sustained me during these difficult times.
Yeah. I think the crux of what I'm feeling is it's time to go back to life. And yet I'm not in the mood.
Right.
Like people keep saying to me, how are you? And I'm like, I'm very medium. Mm-hmm. Some days I'm low medium. Some days I'm high medium, but I'm medium.
That's okay.
I guess it is.
But it feels, I think we were saying a couple weeks ago that you went from having nothing to do in the weekends to then one or two things. And then this weekend, I might have 4 things to do this weekend. And it's just like, overwhelmed. Nope. Too much to do. I used to do 18 things in a weekend for me to say tilt. Now it takes 4. We are deconditioned in our social skills and our availability and our bandwidth. And so it feels overwhelming. I think it's okay that it feels overwhelming, but I think we can, with a little intentionality, sort of build this back up in the way that we want to.
And I have a child who on a very early preschool evaluation or, note home or whatever it was, the evaluation said, struggles with transitions. And my sister-in-law, who runs a school, said, oh, you'll be reading that on his high school transcripts. Like, that's a thing that stays with kids. Like, kids who have trouble transitioning, that tends to stay. And I think I am in hates transitions right now.
Yes.
I like doing what I'm doing. If I'm on my couch binging Netflix because we can't go anywhere and making muffins, that's what I like. And if I'm going out every night and having fun dinners and hanging with friends, that's what I like. But I don't like this phase of leaving the couch to go to the dinners. I like both of the things. I don't like the transition.
I think that friendships are worth investing in, for ourselves, but they're voluntary, right? So that they fall in line behind checking on your mom, checking on your kids, keeping everything going. I think just we kind of put ourselves last, oh, I really should take more bubble baths because I love them, but who's going to do that?
Right. Nobody. Blair on Toddler Purgatory told a hilarious story about during a pandemic low for her was she poured an entire bubble bath and she'd bought all the like lotions and potions to go in it. And then she just put her feet in it. And then she just started crying because she was too tired to get in the bubble bath. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like self-care is a chore in and of itself, as are female friendships.
Yes. So then I think there's a lot of, here's what it is. I think there's a lot of agitation as we enter the world because it's like, oh, I'm so bad at this. Oh, I have just let my friendships wither. But I think that feeling is pretty universal. Like,
yes.
How do I talk? What do I do? Also, I'm a horrible person that I haven't called any of these people in a year and a half, but they're probably feeling the same way.
And also, I'm going to say that we've lost our infrastructure on this, which is important.
Yes.
I don't have a babysitter. You know, I don't have a set of parameters about going out. And so that is a whole other thing. My husband was just talking about he has to do something for work. And I said, well, maybe I'll come with you. And then I'm like, the amount of infrastructure I would have to build up to go away with you is just ridiculous. Let's just skip it. You know, it just,
right.
It all feels like a heavy lift.
So let's talk about some of the ways that the friendships of the last year, the things that we've missed out on, because there's categories that I think are actually really interesting when you stop and think about them.
I like it. I could use it.
I'm going to quote Catherine Pearson here. She wrote an article for HuffPost that was called "Moms Have Held Everything Together This Past Year Except Their Friendships." Well said, Catherine.
Yeah.
And so she said that the pandemic just sort of erased certain entire categories of friends. And I thought this was really enlightening and interesting. So she says like the once a month lunch friends are pretty much, they were gone. Now they're back if you want them to be back. But that feels hard, like even like who do you pick and in what order, that the looser ties have been sundered. And there's actually benefits, psychologists say, to those sorts of friendships. Like it's just, you're in touch with your three friends and don't worry about anybody else. But those small, casual friendships are also useful. So Marissa Franco, she's a psychologist, and she explains that when you're around different people, that friend you see once a month for lunch, that like funny woman at yoga, whatever it is, these people that you have casual relationships with bring out different parts of you. Like I'm a different person with the yoga woman than I am with the mom from school. I am. And so each of those different ties we have, I'm going to quote Dr. Franco here, each different tie that we have makes us know and feel ourselves more deeply and feel more rich and full as people. So when we lost these once a month lunch friends with people we just kind of think are cool from different parts of our lives, we lost those parts of ourselves. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, agree. And it's helping me realize that the hurdle for me is the part of going to this wedding. I had to pack a bag, put makeup in the bag, have a shoe that matched the outfit I was going to wear, get on a train. And I just found it so insurmountable. I could not believe it. Like, how would I possibly do this? And I have a friend who we've been texting. We're texting friends, but like a very, very close friend of mine and someone who I adore. Like every minute with her is just a good minute. She's hilariously funny, amazingly smart. And we have been texting like, we can't wait to be together. And like, when are we going to get together? Saw her once in the pandemic outdoors, but we live far apart and whatever. And we've been trying to have lunch and we kept saying all through the pandemic, like, I think it's April that we can get together. I think it's April. And now it's May and we haven't gotten together. And it's because both of us are just having trouble getting over the hurdle of like, this will involve getting on a train and going into the city and meeting up for lunch. And that just seems like an absurd proposition. And we're both double vaccinated. It's not fear of going into the city or doing that. It's just like, it seems like an absurd idea to do it somehow.
It's a little like Frog and Toad overthinking thing. You know, those Frog and Toad books. I forget which one. I think it's Toad who's kind of the overthinker and Frog who is sort of like, I think it's going to be okay, Toad.
He's more chillax.
Yeah. But we're all Toad, right? Your friend is also Toad. So like, let's just keep texting for a little while.
There's a Twitter account that just randomly posts lines from Frog and Toad.
It's remarkably applicable to every moment of your life. I'll put the link in the show notes. Yeah.
It's incredible. You have to look at it. Like, we'll post a link to it because it's just like every day is like, Toad thought about it and then decided he didn't want to. And like, yes, Toad is all of us right now. Toad
is all of us. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
And it's been hard for me to quantify what that thing is of like dying to see my friend, texting for a year about how much we can't wait to get together. And then like 6 weeks since we've both been vaccinated, we still haven't gotten together.
That's the crux of what we're talking about. I want to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about like why the texting friends are a special kind of thing that did stick around.
Okay.
For some of us, tax season is one of the only times that we look at our finances fully. And once it's over, well, that was terrible. And it is completely understandable not to want to think about it for another whole year. But using Monarch and being intentional with your finances in an ongoing way helps you see where your money is going and how you can put your refund to best use.
We are here to tell you, simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop.
Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code FRESH.
As you know, my husband and I are preparing to send, 3 kids off to college, and I cannot tell you how helpful Monarch has been in showing us our full financial picture, helping us to track our spending and reach important savings milestones. Our weekly meeting, Amy, it's now run by Monarch.
Love it. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple.
Use code FRESH at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code FRESH.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW, let us surprise you.
So the news wasn't all bad, right? For during the pandemic, there was one kind of friendship that kind of did stick around. I'm going to quote now Dr. Marlee Bower. She's a loneliness researcher at the University of Sydney, Australia. She must have had
Oh, Marlee, what a life.
She was busy last year researching loneliness.
Yeah, she was like, I am on my full strength on my home planet. I am a loneliness researcher during the pandemic.
So she pointed out that when social interactions moved online for all of us, a lot of relationships did not thrive, did not, survive that transition very well. They went on pause, went into deep freeze. But the people who are really good at communicating online, that thrived. So people expressed having sort of better, deeper kind of, or at least just the same. Like my friend who lives in London, we text just as much as we used to, and I actually feel really connected to her. That person you already had the texting relationship with. And in some cases, you discovered that the fun mom from yoga actually is really like accessible and funny and warm over text, and you develop that relationship. But maybe like your sister's bad at it. Your sister forgets to check her phone. Your sister doesn't text you back. Your sister doesn't love Facebook, and so some people just don't really like communicating online or aren't particularly good at it or punctual about it.
Yeah.
And those are friendships that withered a little bit just because they don't like texting. So you didn't see your friend down the street, but your friend in San Francisco, you're fully up to date on like how her Saturday went.
I am having a revelation as we talk about this, and it's something that like I have been in this weird place and it's helping me to think about it. I think my best friend and I have been texting. Oh, we should set up a phone call. We should set up a phone call. Again, it's been like 3 weeks. We just haven't done it. Like, I think there's a weird heaviness to stuff we've put down, and that it feels like if you do one thing, you're going to set off a chain of events that's going to do all the things, and that it feels very insurmountable to me right now to do any of the things that I've been like, I said another episode, it's like Stockholm syndrome, but like I've gotten used to my warm cocoon and I can go out and come back. I just did for 4 days at like a crazy big event, but now I'm not happy in the cocoon, but I don't want to go outside. Like I'm kind of stuck right now. And I think I have to just start picking things up one at a time and being like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this.
But that's why the texting thing has been so great, for some of us, for people who like doing it, right? That sort of asynchronous, like, I gotcha is like, I have a friend who loves to talk on the phone and I just don't. I would rather check in, that way because You can do it when you're in a good mood. You can do it when you're not. You can do it when you have 5 minutes. You can do it when you have 20 minutes, and maybe it'll turn into a conversation. It feels like less of a heavy lift to me. But it means that this friend who likes to talk on the phone, and I haven't been in the mood to have a long phone conversation for most of the last 16 months, that affects our friendship.
Yeah.
And you can fix it. I mean, I can feel like a little bad about that and then decide to lean into that as things get better and see this person more. But you see what I'm saying? It never occurred to me, like, for people who like texting, this was good. But if your sister doesn't like texting, then you lost touch with your sister.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think it's just a huge inertia problem, which is like the object at rest stays at rest. And that's the thing. Like to go to the city for a lunch on a Wednesday used to be part of my week where like Monday I took the kids and then at night I had dinner and then Tuesday I had book club and I had to get the kids to soccer before going to book club. And then Wednesday I would go to the city and have dinner, come home, but I'd already made the lasagna. It's in the fridge. Like, but now having a nothing schedule and going to lunch in the city is a ridiculous prospect to me because the object is at total rest and it feels like pushing against a boulder versus like keeping the boulder rolling, right?
Right.
That makes a lot of sense to me and I hadn't quite thought of it that way. That's why it feels like such a huge obstacle. Like I am an object at rest and getting moving again seems really, really hard. And I have one friend who during the pandemic, we walked a lot every day and like, we'll like grab lunch. And then I have another friend who's like, oh, we should go to lunch. And I'm like, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's like, I feel like the things that have been in motion, I'm fine with like the hum of that, but getting stuff going. Ooh.
You know, just like you had your pod, you kind of had your friendship pod, right? Which
not your podcast, your pod, your quarantine pod.
Exactly. Your quarantine pod, right? Like these two families decide their kids can play together. It's like these three friends are up to date on my, father-in-law's health and my, kids' school refusal, whatever the huge issues that you dealt with in this past year. Because of course you had some. You have friends who are sort of grandfathered in who know the stories. And then it feels like I can't talk about that or I don't want to. And then I don't want to talk about, like I said, like, I was going to say, where are you going on vacation this summer? Nowhere, because everything still may be closed and maybe I shouldn't. Right? Like it's exhausting.
Yeah, it feels like a lot. But I think I will say my son had a birthday. Last year he had pandemic birthday. So we had people drive by and we had set up chairs. And so one of his friends came at a time and they sat on opposite sides and chatted, which didn't go great because they're 10 and they didn't really want to chat.
But now they sit on the wall. These are the same kids who sit on the wall. You need like a contest.
These are the kids who sit on the wall. So it's weird. But like still, if you like sat them in two chairs, they would have nothing to say to each other. But if they sit on the wall, they could do it for hours. And so his birthday came around and I thought to myself, what are we going to do? Should I try to get a bunch of people have had the ice cream truck comes and everyone has an ice cream and goes home. But we have a yard. We have a pretty large yard. And I just invited a couple of his friends. I wrote my child's name in chalk, happy birthday, on the driveway. I had no balloons. I had drinks, sodas, and we got a taken pizza. And we just let the kids run in the backyard together, fully masked for an hour and a half. And it was really cute because they were like, it was Lord of the Flies. It was the most insane. At some point, I just was like, I'm just going to let them run wild, not bother them. They're 11 now. At some point, we had cans in the cooler and immediately they were lobbing cans at each other's heads, and throwing them against the trees and stuff. I mean, they were like...
They have also forgotten how to interact with peers.
They have forgotten how to interact as human beings. But let me tell you, it involved a lot. And I had to really okay, you can throw water on each other, but you can't throw Capri Sun on each other. Like I was making these wild rules as they figured out different ways to be absolutely insane. But as they were leaving, the kids were like, this was the greatest birthday party ever. And this birthday party was just run wild in the backyard. But I just think they have not had that outlet in a long time of there's no rules. There's no one, telling them what to do. They just were able to run around together at recess at school. It's like they have to eat. And then the recess is very truncated because they don't really want blah, blah, blah. And this was outdoors and masked. And I basically, they weren't wrestling, but I basically said listen,
Go.
Play. And they made up games and they just played for 90 minutes and it was cathartic to watch. And I think that I need to find more of my opportunities for whatever my social equivalent of hitting my friends in the head with soda cans is, Amy.
Let me give you a quote for this moment.
Please.
It's by the author of the new book, Friendship in the Age of Loneliness. His name is Adam Smiley Poswolsky.
I like that his name is Smiley, even though he's writing about loneliness.
Yeah, Smiley's in it. Yeah, his Twitter handle is like McSmiley or something. Anyway, he says, this is not related to the pandemic, but it is related to what you just said. He says, the road to loneliness is paved with comparison. The road to connection is paved with play. And I think that maybe, listening to what you're saying, this feels overwhelming. But for your kids, it was like, this is a game. Or like, I don't want to sit in two chairs and talk, but let's sit on a wall and talk. Like putting play and connection and secondary activities and let's have poker night. And like, that's the way to sort of ease back into the world without it feeling overwhelming. Let's go do this thing together.
Yeah. And finding things that you enjoy. But for me, a big part of it is just going to be like committing to doing it because I am an extremely social person. I love socializing. I really like being in crowds. I love seeing people. I love everything about being around people, but I do feel like I am, like, you know what I feel like is, you know, in The Little Mermaid when she steals people's souls and they shrink down to like the little gray, like
Ursula like puts them in little like perfume bottles or something, right?
Yeah. They're like a little tiny plant, like a sad little plant. Like that's what I feel like. I feel like I have shrunken into tiny plant form, frowny plant, and that I don't feel ready to put tiny frowny plant on a train to the city for lunch.
You have to do it.
But I have to take my time.
Yeah.
I have to do both. I have to like take my time and also kind of make it an appointment thing of like, we're doing this. Okay. So we're doing this.
Something else that feeds you in particular, I think even more than, it feeds all of us, but it feeds an extrovert like you in particular. Dr. Bower, the loneliness researcher from Sydney, Australia, she said, this blew my mind to think about this. She calls them micro interactions, that what we've all missed out on in the last 16 months is just like, I don't know, shooting the breeze with the guy at the coffee counter, like without masks on. So you're not like, excuse me, what? You know, just that talking to people. You can't facilitate that. You can't bump into people on Zoom, right?
That is my life force. That is my micro interactions are my lifeblood.
They do. They feed you. Right. And they kind of, you know, up to a point they feed me and then I'm a little enervated by them and I got to go hide for a while. But we all haven't had any. And I think like we're feeling overwhelmed, like, ugh, I can't go on the train to the city. I understand the resistance. I feel it too. But the train to the city, you're going to talk to like the person at the ticket counter and the like, is this seat taken? Like those micro interactions actually help us with our loneliness and isolation in ways we don't even understand. And all of them are taken away.
Agree. That's a very, very good point. And I think the masks, listen, I'm pro mask. Keep your masks on. Relax. But the micro interactions are really hurt by the mask thing. You know, even my kids' school pickup is like, oh, hey, how you doing? And now the moms we're outdoors, we're spread out. People are starting to lose the masks at pickup. And you can have, I bumped into you conversation, which is much more pleasing to me than the idea of like, let's go out to this restaurant and all sit down, 12 of us. Like that kind of interaction is not even as appealing to me, you know, especially I think that's right, where it's like, how you been? Like, oh, terrible, you know? That part of it does not seem appealing.
Yeah. I've even missed my boys played a spring sport this year and standing on the sidelines with the parents. Again, it's getting better, right? But when the season started, we all had to stand certainly in order for the kids to play. Like we will all do anything in order for this sport to occur, right? So the kids are like running around on the field with masks on, which who would have thought that was possible? They play a 90-minute game, no problem. Parents are on the sidelines, also masked, 6 feet apart. But this is sort of like, hey, how you doing? Like, let's not even pretend that we're going to chit chat. It's impossible.
No, you can't. Yeah. It's like, how are you? Yeah. What? Oh, how are you? What? How are you? Huh? Never mind, you know, like.
And then, you know, so now it's like, oh, like things are changing. And then like some parents have the masks on and some don't. And it's like the ones who have the masks on, like, are you doing that for the kids or are you doing that because you're immunocompromised? Like it's just charged and trying to read each other. Availability for chit chat is, yeah, it's harder. We've gotten bad at it.
Complicated. And like, I have my mask off because I am vaccinated, not because I don't believe in the virus. Like, what's going on? I saw somebody who pointed out, like, I still carry the mask in my hand at all times to indicate that I am pro-mask, but I am vaccinated.
Oh my God. Right. The signals we send each other. And then the last point I wanted to make about the micro interactions is that I'm going back to something that Dr. Marissa Franco said. She said acquaintances equal resources, particularly for moms who don't work outside the home, right? It's when you bump into the person or you overhear the thing about the job opening or the babysitter who's really great and she's available on Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know what I mean? Like those things you didn't know you were looking for until you happened to bump into them or overhear them.
Right.
We've also missed out on those. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm feeling like a little dissatisfied. I want to find some new meaning in my life. I want to try something new, but you don't even know what it is until it bonks you on the head while you're walking down the street. But we haven't had that either.
Such a good point. Like you can't replace casual interactions with like, let's get on a Zoom. It just, they're not equal things. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back and talk about this more.
My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that: taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
And now, what type of post-quarantine mom are you?
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
The amateur epidemiologist.
Listen, the vaccination rates were looking good, but now we're sadly coming into a stage where you are hitting some vaccine hesitancy. So there's a question about whether we'll see the 1% transmission rate rise, in which case I think we need to scale back a bit on the indoor dining, even if we've had the second dose. But don't worry, y'all, I'm keeping an eye on it. Way too excited to get back out there.
Okay, book club is back. I'm doing a Southern theme. We'll read Lonesome Dove, and I have a tiered menu comprised entirely of foods mentioned in the book. And then I was thinking girls' night, and what about couples' night? We should definitely do that. A trip. We need to schedule a trip. We need to go somewhere. The Not Ready Mom.
You know what? I'm good with the mask. I think I'll keep it on. Oh, drinks? I don't think so. I'm going to hold off for now. You guys go ahead. I'm good here on my couch. The Day Counter.
It is exactly 106 days until Broadway opens again. I will be seeing my first concert in 16 months in exactly 37 days from now. And it has been 452 days since I last ate in a restaurant, but that ends today.
The mom who learned to state her boundaries during quarantine.
Listen, you want us there? I want to see Vax cards on every invitee. And I won't be wearing heels. And get used to the sight of this pandemic belly because you know what else is out? Spanx. And do not sit me next to Aunt Marjorie. My tolerance for annoying people has not been built back up yet. The one who liked having all the kids at home, but is trying to keep perspective.
I really liked having all the kids at home, but I'm trying to keep perspective. Of course, I'm glad the pandemic is over. It was a horrible time, but it was nice having the kids at home. I mean, thank goodness it's all ending, but I will miss having the little ones around all the time. Just knowing they were all safe at home. If you excuse me, I'm going to go leaf through their baby books for a little while.
This has been What Type of Post-Quarantine Mom Are You?
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
Amy, I think it's interesting that this idea of like being the unwatered plant, because one of the things I find is I think a lot of what the pandemic stripped away was like, it's the absurdity of certain things, right? Like, oh, wait a minute. It suddenly seems ridiculous to spend 2 hours a day on a train going to an office building to do a job that I can legit do from my bedroom on a Zoom call. And like a dude tying a piece of cloth around his neck to indicate business status is bizarre. Like, are we going to still do that? Like, and a lot of the women at the wedding were like, high heel shoes. No, those are out. Like when you put those bad boys back on, it's like, why were we doing this? You know?
Yeah.
And I think that even though this sounds harsh and crazy, I think friendships have a little bit of that. Like, oh, wait, this seems crazy that we go and eat tacos and talk about our kids. I don't know. Like, I think there is a reentry to that that's more challenging than I was imagining.
Yeah. And there's a reentry to like, gosh, I don't really connect with the third grade moms. It's just that we're third grade moms. I think like for us, our friendships can be sort of, we just trip and fall into them, right? Like, well, this is the Brownie Troop parents, so I guess I'll connect with them. And you might find your best friend for the rest of your life there, or you might have nothing in common with those four other parents. But for a lot of us, that was our sort of social circle. It was a little more happenstance.
Yeah. And I think we forget because the feeling of being in company is very, it's like exercising. Like you forget how good it feels when it's time to put the spandex pants on, right? Like
that's right.
And I think that for me, I'm thinking of another example of my sister and our really great friends who we love hanging out with. And we have a little dinner club where we go to dinners together. Again, we're like, well, we can do it again. We're back and we haven't done it. Like, it's funny how I think it is a little bit like exercise. Like, well, I'd rather be on my couch, even though you kind of are like, I know I'm going to feel better if I go for a run.
I know I feel great after. Right.
But that barrier to entry I have found it very surprising because I do think of myself as someone who on the spectrum of socialization is like a 10 out of 1 to 10. If 1 is introverted and 10 is like socializing, you know? And it's interesting. I think that is the parallel is it is like exercising. Like I know it's good for me, but I'm pretty happy on the couch.
I know I'll feel great when I'm done.
Yeah. And I feel significantly worse just sitting on the couch all day. And yet I don't exercise. Like, what is that?
It's very interesting to me who's somebody I'd say like I'm more like a 5 out of 10. Because you think like, oh, it's hard for me. But somebody like, if I was an extrovert, then this would be easy for me. Then I could just re-enter and call people up. But no, all of us are sort of, how do I, what is this thing? We're all feeling that to some extent or another.
I think it's inertia too. I just think once it starts rolling, it'll be like, hey, let's go to dinner. What do you got? And it's kind of like, it's also a funny thing where like the calendar's completely blank and yet we're trying to make plans. My sister's trying to come out to visit. And I'm like, it's weird. Like between the 4 or 5 of us in the family, we can't find a weekend where everybody's free all of a sudden, you know? And it's funny. Like, it's like, wait, what? Everyone's got 1 or 2 weird plans, just enough to kind of mess up the plan making, but not enough to, you know, have anything to do.
I have sort of approach to this that I think you will like. Because at the beginning you were saying how like you loved that wedding. I mean, you told us about it, that it was amazing, the best thing that ever happened. And now you're like, people are weird. Why would I go outside? You're having this weird contraction.
That's so true. I'm having that's a contraction is a good way to say it. Because I feel like I'm worse than before I went to the wedding.
Right, doesn't make sense.
Which, why would that be? Like, I saw freedom and now I'm like doubling down on being an inside troll.
All right. So Kate Veloz, she's Velociraptor on Twitter. Speaking of good Twitter handles.
First of all, fantastic.
She has written a book called We Should Get Together, The Secret to Cultivating Better Friendships. And again, she didn't write this about the pandemic, but like, let's hear what she has to say.
I think we all need a copy. I need 2 copies.
Yeah. I think we should have her on the show maybe. So she suggested in a Twitter thread, which I'll put a link to in our show notes, that we should take part in what she calls post-pandemic friendship microdosing.
Tell me more.
I'll put the link to the illustration in the show notes too. She actually like made a calendar. It's an imaginary calendar, right? Like Monday is see friends. Tuesday is rest. Wednesday is reflect. Thursday is see friends. Friday is reflect. Saturday is rest. So she says what she thinks will help all of us, because apparently this is universal, that we all feel a little weird right now, that you should set up very intentional doses of social time, buffered by days on which you sort of reflect on the experience and integrate what you've learned and think about how you want to move forward, that you should give yourself the grace and space to take it slow.
I mean, a little tweet for me, frankly, but I like the general idea.
Sounds like you're doing it anyway, and she's giving you permission to feel weird.
My parallel is more the whiteboard. Like, I need to, as I often say, I say to my kids, like, okay, you can have screens in the morning, then it's free play, then it's 1 hour of reading, then it's help make lunch, then it's do chores. Like, I need to start setting my weeks up that way. I know this for myself. I exercise, if I say I exercise every other day. And the minute I let that go, I exercise none in a month. You know, I need strong parameters, and I need to start saying, like, I'm going to be doing one social thing with a person out of the week every day, not every day, 1 day a week.
And then that white space, because you were saying like your summer, you know, you like a little white space in the calendar. And I think we all do. Yeah. That you can have that for friendships too. In other words, like, it's okay that you don't want to be in the roaring 20s, you know, thing.
Not quite yet. Not quite. Check with me in a year. I may be roaring, but let me give you one other tip on this. One thing that I have found really helpful in this journey for myself is right now plans. Are you guys free tomorrow to come over and have a barbecue in the yard? Like, are you guys free after school today to have your kids come over and play? And we can hang out and have a tea on the yard. Like, that has been a helpful thing. Like, for some reason, it's that planning things 6 days from now doesn't seem appealing, but I'm up for doing it if I don't have to think about it. So like, hey, let's do something tomorrow. You guys free? Or I ran into a friend at soccer, and then it's like, hey, do you guys want to come over tonight and we'll grab pizzas? I like that kind of planning right now.
That's a special kind of friend, but I think that right now, but it is an opportunity to have that. We're all sort of like creating new routines. So people might be more available for that than you think.
And a lot of people still don't have a right now. You know, back in the day, you couldn't really ever do that. People would always say like, oh no, we have plans this weekend. Of course they do. Like, everyone's always got plans.
Right. It's lacrosse season. Yeah.
Yeah. It's lacrosse season, or it's this, or it's, you know, people are just busy. I mean, I often say to my husband, you know, whatever his parents want to visit, I'm like, great. We have a free weekend 4 months from now, the second, you know, weekend of whatever that month is. But I do find that right now, people tend to be a little bit more like, hey, what are you doing right now? It's easier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then there's less like anticipation.
Yeah, you don't have the friction of like, but I would have to think about that. And then I would have to think about putting on pants. It's like, I already have pants on. I'll come over.
We're having dinner tomorrow night with 2 other couples that we haven't seen enough of. And one of them is moving away at the end of the school year. So I'm really like looking forward to this 6 people dinner. Anyway, we've put it on almost like as a joke, put it on one of the dads to figure out where we're going for dinner. And, you know, his wife is like, he's overwhelmed. You should see him like shouting at the restaurants and the funks. We're like, you'll figure it out. Good luck. And he can't find anywhere to go because, of course, every restaurant is like super busy all of a sudden. But like, it's overwhelming to this guy where we're going to go to dinner on Wednesday. But, you know, I'm loving offsourcing that to somebody else and having somebody else worry about that stuff for a change.
Yeah, I think it's funny how it does feel overwhelming. Like, a plan that involves a babysitter seems absurd to me. Like, we'll call someone and they'll come to our house and watch our children in exchange for money? What? You know?
They'll just sit there with them?
Yeah, or I'll go get on a train. I can't tell you going down to this wedding how overwhelmed. I had like a 2:30 p.m. train. A train. It's not even like a plane. There's no security. You just have to get to the train station and walk onto the train.
And truthfully, if you miss that train,
there's another train.
There will be another one at some point. You're not never getting to Zanzibar.
And yet at about 10 o'clock, I have a kid who's like this. Like if there's a plan in the afternoon, he's just all day. Like, when are we leaving? Like he has to sit still on the couch. Like he gets completely overwhelmed by a plan. And that's how I was. At a certain point, it was 2:30 train. I think we ended up leaving for it at like noon. I was like, I'd rather just be sitting on the platform because I can't stand worrying anymore about getting on the train.
You've lost that, right? Like how much time do you allow for something like that?
I've lost a lot of and I know how much time intellectually, but in my body, it feels very anxiety producing.
I understand that.
I know you do. You understand me. That's why we talk it out.
This helped me because I have been sort of beating myself up about not having been better over the last year. And I'm thinking of one friend in particular. I got to just text her because I'm like, oh my God, like what has been going on with this person? I don't really know. Like she lives very far away now. But I was just talking about how that shouldn't matter if you're a good texter. I don't even know if this person's a good texter. I talk to her once in a while. And it looms so large that I haven't been a good friend to her. She's probably not spending much time thinking about that.
She's definitely not. And it reminds me, there's a podcast I like and they have a thing called Email Forgiveness Day or something. It's like Email Amnesty Day. And it means that they declare a day where you can reply to any email, no matter how old.
Wow.
So if you have an email for 5 years ago, I mean, I'm horrible at this, as Amy definitely knows because she emails me a lot. Like I see it and I'm like, oh, I'll write back.
I do that too, though. Yeah.
Of course, everybody does that with emails. But then God forbid it's an email that's like, I just wanted to say how much I appreciated your parent before they passed away. It's like, oh my God, you didn't write back right away because you were overwhelmed at the time. It's fine. You can write back 5 years later and say, hey, I know this was forever ago, but I just wanted to say, like, thanks so much for reaching out at the time. It's Email Amnesty Day. And I think we need to all give ourselves friendship amnesty. Like, it is the time to say, whatever happened in the last 18 months is off limits for critique. Like, it's fine. Just check in with whoever you want. And don't feel weird. I mean, take it from me that this thing of, oh my God, finally, hooray, let's get together. It doesn't quite work that way. Like it's still going to be hard to make plans. And that's okay too.
It's zigzaggy too. Like you went to the wedding and you did have a great time. It isn't like I was worried about how to go and then it wasn't that great. You went and it was great, but it isn't unidirectional. Like, and now I have shaken off this weird time. No, we're still in the weird time. We're still processing what was that. And so friendships are part of that, but it sounds like it's worth the effort to reconnect with those friends who really do feed you once you put on the spandex and go work out.
Yeah. And fight the thing in your mind that's telling you it's a dam. And that if you take one brick out of the center, the water's going to start rushing through and break the dam and then you're going to drown. Like you can still control how much you do. I think my mind tells me like, if I say yes to these 3 dinner plans, pandemic is over and I'm back to regular life. And like, I have to fight the part of my brain that is telling me that like this is some rushing river and the minute I step into it, I'm going to be swept away. Like I have total control over the plans I make still. I can do what sounds good and say no to the things that don't sound good. And it's not that, I think that crabbiness and angstiness is coming from my feeling of like, I like my cocoon and I don't want to be dragged out of it. Like no one's trying to drag me anywhere. People are just like, hey, you want to grab lunch? That's not so deep.
Right.
But I think my mind is tricking me into thinking everything is going to feel like waiting on a train platform for 2 hours because I feel like I'm scared to miss a train because I don't have that callus built up anymore of like, you know how to get on a train.
Yeah. This is like wearing your sandals or like your summer shoes in the first, in like May and the tops of your feet. You always get like blisters and stuff on the tops of your feet when you put on your summer shoes because the tops of your feet don't know how to be holding your shoes on anymore. That's what this is. I'm a little thin-skinned.
Amy, I'm just one big top of your foot. That's what I am right now.
Please be the top of my...
And I've got to build up my summer shoe blisters. It's true.
Oh, we solved it with that incredible metaphor.
It's true. It's going to be fun out there, but we don't have to feel great about it. We can take our time.
We can feel all the feels.
Solved it.
Guys, we would love for you to give our podcast a rating and review. If you have already given our podcast a rating and review, you could head over to Toddler Purgatory and give them some love too. But the reviews and ratings are how shows get found by new listeners, and it really, really helps. So please consider it.
So much helps. And come join us on social media. You guys know where to find us. It's everywhere. Search What Fresh Hell Podcast and you'll find us wherever you like to be on the internets. And I hope you have fun getting out there and being as social as you care to be. Like all you care to eat, it's as social as you care to be.
I'm going to start texting people.
Thanks for listening.
The right window treatments change everything. Your sleep, your privacy, the way every room looks and feels. At Blinds.com, we've spent 30 years making it surprisingly simple to get exactly what your home needs. We've covered over 25 million windows and have 50,000 five-star reviews to prove we deliver. Whether you DIY it or want a pro to handle everything from measure to install, we have you covered. Real design professionals, free samples, zero pressure. Right now, get up to 40% off site-wide, plus get a free professional measure at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions apply.